Congratulate N360 for making this event possible.
If you look at the key companies that have come out, and there are about 21 unicorns in marketing technology, the first company that I would love to take an example of is, and actually I'll flip this question to you. What do you use? How do you make your PowerPoints? Right, that gives the answer. Right? Canva displaced Microsoft completely overnight. Right, so we all talk about data, and we need to think about advertising campaigns and all that. But even if you look at the long tail, that is to enable creatives, Canva has come out of nowhere, displaced Microsoft. I think their current market valuation is $42 billion. Right? This is two people sitting in a room in Australia thinking that they want to democratize creativity, have created an actual tool which is doing about $42 billion in revenue. They've just acquired Leonardo.ai to get AI and image generation within Canva. The other unicorns that I think you need to know about are Klaviyo, which is about $9.2 billion in revenue. You're nodding, you obviously played with it. That's a fully automated, right from data, which I was saying about data coming in from market, secondary data, to automate the whole piece right up to email marketing. That's what these guys are doing. So there are enough players in the market with unique business models. Three levers that I would look at when evaluating a company. One is, how do they balance out their cost of customer acquisition to the lifetime value of revenue that you get from a customer. So Vibhor sir was talking about startup budgets being tight. I disagree. I think most think about it, right? Every time you come to an investor, you go to Shark Tank, 60% of their use of proceeds is, I want to build a brand, right? So most of that money is going into branding revenue. So I would look at how much are they spending to get a customer vis-a-vis how much the revenue they're going to get out of that. The second thing I would look at is the net ARR, or what is the net annual rate of return. So are they getting new customers? Is there recurring revenue that is coming out of it? Is it a problem that they're solving once, that somebody is going to use once and never use again? Or is it recurring revenue that's going to be coming year on year? And the third thing that I would look at is stickiness. How sticky is the product? How often are people going to be using it? And how much are they prepared to spend to use that? So it could be anything from creativity to data and storytelling. I keep taking Dr. Vibhor's case because I'm very intrigued with his story about Dr. Mayank. He says there's a gabbar who called me at 12 o'clock at night and Shikar ka adhikar but he didn't tell us what happened after that. So I think storytelling, getting data in the right way, getting insights are all things that we would back. And I think these 3 or 4 key metrics are easy things for us to filter out the noise from the real stuff.
Just because somebody is doing it, we should also be doing it. I think there needs to be a pause on that, because we have to be watchful that when I say we, I mean the brands and the agencies have to be watchful that an AI, for an AI should not make the world blind. We need to be careful of it. And for all the students out here, I can just say stay fearless. It's the best time to be in marketing because you yourself have lot many tools to do whatever you want. You can create something on your own also. You can create your own ecosystem. So just explore and explore because AI for me, I personally, when I look at it, I was talking to someone else and I said that AI is more like an eye, as we say in Marathi, mother. जो बच्चों को बहुत सारे सॉल्यूशन देगी, हेल्प के लिए हमेशा तैयार रहेगी, मगर करना तो बच्चों को ही पड़ेगा. So I think the future looks great. Even an advertising agency has a great future. The tools will change. They have always been changing. And as you said, that what depends on the people in it. So those advertising will always be ready to accept those who are ready to adapt. As simple as that. So yeah. So all the best and have fun with marketing and advertising and creativity. It's a beautiful medium, beautiful way of expressing yourself.
Wonderfully said. And can I ask if these lines are copyrighted?
They've been written by me, so you can use it.
Okay. Now, while you were talking about that, Aditya, one of the things that comes to mind is the amount of work that we are doing using AI. We are also losing touch with human, right? So, and I teach design thinking in many places, and there is an emphasis on human centricity, right? Are we designing things for human beings? And with that, the question to you, Mamta, is like, as you work on designing digital experiences, how do you ensure that you are keeping focus on the human-centered aspects?
See, that is the most critical, firstly, because the human is your consumer, AI is not your consumer, right? So if you're not understanding how they are behaving with your digital experience, I mean, it's no meaning to run that business. So for me, while I'm designing digital experiences, the biggest KPI or the biggest factor with which I judge is how my funnel is behaving. Very simple thing, it's a dropout rate, right? But what does it tell you? While it sounds very simple, but it tells you that, okay, my customer was lost. I designed the page, I thought it is looking like Taj Mahal, right? But my customer didn't even know where to go next, what to do next, what is it that they are getting if they enter and do that one more click, right? So it's always fun to see the person in front of you. So what we do is, see, out of 5 days in office, 4 days we are thinking about digital experience sitting from our chair, right? But at least that one day, even if you can go ahead and talk to that pantry guy or talk to anybody who you don't know before and see them behaving with your digital product, right? It gives you tons of insights that nothing can give. You'll realize that, okay, this person couldn't even figure, okay, why I have put the next CTA, it's called CTA, which is click to action. While I have put it there, but this person is not even going there. Maybe this person doesn't even need it. So, it just strikes that maybe their needs are absolutely different. So, while designing digital experience also, you cannot just rely on digital tools. It has to be the core human interaction that has to come in every single step. So that's what I believe.
Thank you. Pulak, the question for you is, the opportunities that we are able to see, and again, picking up from where Mamta just left, there is a lot of need for personalization, but we are kind of doing a lot of rapid scaling at the same time. How do we balance the both? And what kind of things that people can learn through personalization?
I think we are at the best phase when it comes to personalization. We can talk to that sample of one. Okay, gone are those days when we were a mass media, where you were addressing entire nation or at least one big geography at one go. Now we have come to a place where what I am pushing to Adira's mobile versus Mamta versus mine are all different. and that has come from the, the usage pattern they have learned. And don't hate me, Aditya or Vibhor sir. I think don't make AI a villain. Yeah, I mean it's a good thing, and.
Not a villain for sure. Villains are in demand. So it's always an enabler. As I said right throughout, it's an enabler, but a human will be the one who will be driving it forward.
No, absolutely. That's
Won't be the other way around.
non-negotiable. Of course, humans would be required, but look at the amount of data now we are generating, the kind of growth we are looking. We should not be looking things at the way that the jobs are at stake, jobs are in danger, companies are evaporating. I mean, we all know what happened when computers came in 2000, early 2000, or before that. I mean, there was a thing that some Y2K thing had come in play. Then all those data scientists came in play. Then happened that now the Python guys will eat up everybody else. It doesn't work like that. We are all evolving with time. Of course, if you're not learning, like Sujit was mentioning, if you don't upskill yourself, if you don't continuously learn, then you will be left behind. Now about the personalization thing, of course, we are at the best moment where we can talk to that one person. We can, I mean, when you were mentioning about Netflix, we all know Netflix has dynamic thumbnail. So Preeti ma'am, thumbnail for your movie and my movie are same, but thumbnail will be different. So depending on your, demography, your choices of, view, whatever you have viewed in the app, you will be provided with a different thumbnail. So those are the kind of personalization we need. We need that content recommendation. Even if both of us watch same movie, but next movie for you and me will be different. So I mean, this is the best phase of life where data is being used to the fullest, and I'm very sure going forward it is only going to get increased. And who will do? Some other company, some other technology, some new two guys will become like a new Canva, right? So this circle will keep going on. So I think that way we are doing really good in terms of personalization. About the KPIs of measurement, that is, see, end of the day we all know if you're in a business, and Mamta, yes, you're right, we talk about business because end of the day that matters. If you talk about reach, how many audiences have I reached? If you talk about frequency, how many times have I reached? Or if you say maybe if you're in the business of content, then you will say that what is it, completion rate, how much the person has completed, what is the journey that they are seeing from there, or CTR in certain cases. So there are multiple KPIs depending on the type of businesses you are in. Yes, gone are those days when in TV we used to see कितने लोगों ने देखा, कितना टाइम देखा और उससे हमने बनाया TRP. So now things have moved beyond. It totally depends on the kind of business you are in, and hence you created KPIs accordingly.
Thank you, Pulak. When we talk about banking, Sujit, it's a highly regulated industry, not just across the nation, but even internationally, depending on how, what kind of bank it is. And there is often a talk about AI and ethics in that. Right? What kind of data is being taken from us, and how is it being used for us, and perhaps sometimes not for us as well. And we are also seeing a lot of push notifications these days from a lot of apps to buy things based on past data that has been given to them. How do you balance this? I mean, there is a regulation which perhaps is also outdated and not really updated with the kind of dynamics that we are seeing in the business. What would you as a banker do to remain in balance?
It's an important question. See, bank is, we all know that it's a custodian of your money. But bank is a custodian of the highest amount of data that it has about an individual. Let me give you some examples. It knows your financial information, where you invest, how much money you have. It knows your behavior information, where you spend money. PVR जाते हैं, Amazon जाते हैं. Apart from that, while using an app, I know where are you up at this moment. Okay. I know, we also have a tools which we very rarely use. We call it SMS scraping. Okay. Where I can check everything about you in real time by checking, scraping and everything. Okay. Yeah. We also have a tools for, and it's there in most of the banking mobile apps where we track impressions. Okay, you left hand, you right hand. Okay, and the list goes on. I can, if we talk about it in the next 20 minutes, I can tell you what are the information. Now, as a marketer, now they can think if this much of information he gets, what all he can do. We as a bankers having this information, we have to be very careful how we use this information, because when we build any model, okay, we have to have an explainability factor, because when we get audited, only thing is there that tempts digital marketing folks. If we have so much of data, how aggressively are tempted to use this in many ways. For example, if I know someone is, every Friday his geolocation is decreasing, okay, what he must be doing? So I'll tell him, तेरे को इतना cashback मिल जाएगा तो offer मिल जाएगा. Okay, so many things we can do, but we have to be very careful. As a banking, there are different level of framework evolving. One is 2 weeks, 3 weeks back, RBI has come with a framework for responsible AI adoption. It's a 100-page document. It gives a directive to all the BFSI how to use AI responsibly. That is a very important document, which it gives a clear direction what we have to do, what we can do, how, and what they expect us to do that. Second, riding on that, what we are doing is that we are building framework. Now, framework is at a bank level, which is at an organization level, and a framework at a functional level. Now, bank level it's self-explanatory. I'll tell you function, it is very important. For example, now advisory, for example, a team who does cross-selling of mutual funds and insurance products. Now we have a clear guardrails. Now guardrails which is system-centric, and a guardrail with a human in loop. Okay, AI is all about responsibility when human has to be involved. So for example, if we are recommending something, it's first it has to be filtered so that that a model we have. After that it goes to a human. Okay, and then it's
actually build step by step. What is your view? Like, what should individuals do, and what can make this aspect adopt better? How do you build trust in this journey?
So, let me first address the point which Adhiraj spoke about. I never said that startups have tight budgets. I'm going back to the question. Startups, once upon a time, then there was a time before 2 decades, startups really had tight budgets. Today, if you have a structured plan, proper feasibility study, which I'm again telling you, your idea is validated by data, you have proof of concept, and there are people like Adhiraj sitting there to help you out. And I have seen, I'm telling you the reality of life. I have seen startup owners who came to us with just 10 lakh rupees. 10 lakh. One can open the shop, that's it, 10 lakh rupees. And in 5 years, they are having a company of 10 crore. That is possible today now. Because today there is an ecosystem. And if you do not know about where to go, what to do, how to avail the funding and all, then you would be in trouble. Otherwise, it's possible now. So startups do not actually have tight budgets. They have tight budgets only to the point of time they don't utilize their knowledge into a plan. That's it. If there's a plan, there is a system which can help you out. So I agree with you. I agree with you. And I am not in favor of saying that AI is a villain. Even if AI is a villain, you can't ignore it. Even if. So better, I am one who has once upon a time used overhead projector and transparencies for my classes. So probably some of you professors can relate with me. Then I was using PowerPoint presentation. And now today, you guys are using Canva and whatnot. So, but nobody could replace me. I'm the example. So I'm not that archaic, but point to ponder here is that journey will carry on, things will be changing, and you need to have that sense and ability to utilize these things for your objective. That's it. So fundamentals are very much important, very much required. Now I'm coming back to your question. What I believe is that I'll just give you an example of a real life case. There's a UK-based company which came to us and they wanted to have their feasibility study. They claim, I would not name them because NDA is signed, and I don't want litigation again, which we have usually with us. So they came to us and they said that, sir, we are looking for a feasibility study, and our minimum quoted price for shaving, they're a barber company, and they say we are first barber company of the world. They are from UK. Is rupees 1700. हिंदुस्तान के अंदर if somebody wants to go for a shaving, तो उसको 1700 रुपए खर्च करने पड़ेंगे. ये हमारा मिनिमम बॉटम लाइन है हमारे प्राइसिंग का. इसकी विजिबिलिटी चाहिए. तो प्राइमा फेसी पर्सन लाइक मी who comes from Lucknow, UP background, son of a bureaucrat, a mid income level person, I said visibility, why are you wasting money in India? 1700 रुपए का शेविंग कौन कराएगा? तो but some of my colleagues said maybe let's try for it. So we went ahead, and do you know, this was fantastically, possible, and they did their job, and now they're a very big company having retail chain everywhere, even in Patna. In Patna even, there are people who are spending rupees, 2,000 for one haircut, and that was possible only because of AI tools. Entire study was based on data collection using AI tools, right? So here is the power of AI. Now, the way AI was used, it was not that peeping in personal life of people, but yes, let me tell you that data was so exhaustive, we knew everything, whatever possible. Which kind of car they have, target customer group, which kind of lifestyle they have, proper AI or inventory, activities, interest, opinions, and every possible thing, right? But the way it was not used in a very destructive manner. It was used in a very, very balanced way. So marketing is all about really helping people coming forward and help them out. It's not about just selling. No, that era of selling is over. Everyone is smart enough to understand where is the value. So the answer is that if you are able to have hands-on experience, you have got that ethical sense of using data for helping them out, nobody can beat you. I think I've answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The last question is to Adhiraj. With a lot of what's happening when it comes to AI, its intersection with the way business gets done. Yeah, please go ahead. How do you kind of go about ensuring that you are having the right idea, understanding of, even going about funding decisions, right? And let's talk about even 2030 as a scenario. Where do you see all of this culminate to in terms of decisions that are made by an investor about whether to fund or not?
That's a hard question. And I'm going to keep it short for two reasons. One, I need to go to the loo. And second, second reason I'll tell you later. But notice he still hasn't clarified my second question. What did they do at 12 midnight? I really want to know. What did you do? Sorry? What did you do with him at 12 midnight?
I think that should be discussed during lunch.
Yeah. Okay, so where's the intersection of all of it going, right? So, being in my profession, you have to have one foot in the present and one foot in the future, right? We spend most of our time imagining what the future is going to look like, trying to study data trends and trying to transpose them on what the crystal ball could be. Like yesterday, till about last week, all of us were writing off traditional ERP companies, right? We said, oh, there are new ERPs coming out, Darwinbox has become a unicorn, this other ERP has become a unicorn and all of that. So we all started doubling down bets on traditional ERPs. And then Oracle comes in and does a $300 million deal with OpenAI, and their stocks have doubled. So if I put $1,000 last week in Oracle, I'd be sitting on $5,000 today. So, but that's again stock, right? So, where does the intersection of all of it come together is an interesting question. I'll give you a couple of examples of large companies using AI in the real world so that it becomes more apparent as to where the investment trends are going. This is being recorded, so I will not name the companies. But case study one, we walked into a very large consulting company for a post-acquisition kind of business strategy meeting, and they were pitching to us to retain us as the customers, right? So we walked in, and they put folders on our tables with really nice presentations, as most consulting companies do. And all of the pages said this was made by, I can't even name the thing, but assume Quantum Black, right? That was the name of the company. And turns out that that deck of business intelligence was completely built by their in-house. So they acquired a generative AI company, and that whole deck was completely built by their generative AI tool. And they were proudly telling us that we built this entire strategy from the generative AI tool. So that made me think that you spent years on being this massive consulting company, and now you're using LLMs. And they said, no, wait. Everybody has an LLM, but nobody has the data that we have of the last 100 years of consulting. Right? So that was a powerful notion that, you were mentioning of SLM. So they basically created an SLM around all their database, all the advisory that they've done for all the companies over the last 100 years. So that was an interesting use of AI, and that I think will proliferate further. SLMs combined with agentic AI in the marketing space are going to be a big bet for the future. Second case is, so in the UK there's a very, very large chain, retail chain, which is looking to reduce shoplifting. Right? So it's a pandemic right now in the UK. The amount of shoplifting that's happening, I was telling Mamta earlier, is just beyond belief. So they started deploying AI, computer vision on all the CCTV cameras to try and see where shoplifters are going to go and all of that. The marketing guys like Mamta saw that. See, she just went, that's a great idea. So all the marketing guys said, wow, that's data I don't have. I want to use that data, right? So they started using that data to physically map, like what Vibhor was saying, Tulak was saying, right, of hyper-personalization of a digital profile. They created a hyper-personalization of a physical profile where they would know which aisle, what brand is being spent the most time on, what's the dwell time, where do people exit, where do they enter, right? And this was a product that was used initially for security. That data then turned into insights for where they should stock and what products they should stock at what point and stuff like that. So that's another big emerging trend that's going to come up. Along with augmented reality is assisted reality. So a lot of people are going to try and get data, marketing data. All the data is already available. Data is, everybody keeps talking about it being the new oil. I think insight is the new oil. Data is already last decade. This decade is going to be about insight. How do you use that data and make, like Dr. Vibhor was saying, perception. So a lot of people are going to look at investments at the long tail, closer to the customer journey. So the power of data is how do you get closer to the buy decision of the customer? How do you get closer to the journey of the customer? And there's a lot of tools and a lot of innovation that will go into it. A lot of large companies, VC companies, will invest in companies that are going to close the gap between the whole journey that a customer has to spend with you, whether it's B2B or B2C. Third example, because we talk about B2C quite a bit, one B2B company that I found really interesting. Again, I unfortunately can't name it because you've made the mistake of doing this, but it was a company that basically, and I'm sure you guys have played around with it as marketers, it's a bot that sits on your website and gives you data about not just the churn rate, but who's come to your website, how much time they've spent, what kind of inquiries they put in, what kind of research they've got. So for the outreach, that becomes really interesting data, right? Because if you're selling B2B, think about it, your sales cycle is longer. So the amount of your buy basket obviously has to be much larger to justify that long sales cycle. So this becomes really good data for them to customize their page, try and figure out how they're going to take the most value out of it. And that little bot now is going towards the agentic way, but I think gaining or sharpening perception from a P2P perspective is going to be the next big play at the intersection of those three things that you spoke about. I said I'll keep it short.
Thank you for being short. Well, thank you everyone. I really appreciate you sharing your perspectives.
I think it did justice to what it was required to do. Thread was a new entrant. It did a lot of talk about thread. It created a lot of talk about thread. People started noticing it. There were conversations which were upon in the Kalyani Indiranagar ka Gunda, now our Royal Rabel, who is always thought of as a very cool, calm-headed person, and he was shown in a completely opposite manner, right? And they used celebrities brilliantly in all their ads. So it helped them create a lot of buzz about their brand. They were newer entrants. At least I had never heard of Thread before that. I only came to know about Thread after seeing those ads. So I don't know what exactly was the brief to the agency, but for a newer entrant like Thread, it created a lot of buzz. It created definitely made it a part of the pop culture. It definitely made it viral. So that was, at least in my understanding, the advertising bit of it did really well. I don't know about how it shaped up in terms of numbers. I don't have the knowledge of it as of now, or I don't know who heads it and who can share that perspective to you, that why it didn't work in terms of numbers. But in terms of buzz creation, in terms of brand building, it created an impact. People related Thread to that madness. Like you yourself are narrating that there were three distinct ads and you took the correct name of the people who were there in the ad. Because a lot many times people even get confused which celebrity has been used in which ad. So, and you really remembered that it is a Thread ad. So that way it worked. I don't have an answer to why it didn't translate into numbers. I don't have an answer to that.
So I'll give you some insight on that. So understand what a credit business model is. Credit is a platform that acquires customer and then it generates value for the customer. In that process, it generates value for himself. Okay, themselves. So Credit today has around 3.5 crore customers. Primarily, when they started, it was by invitation. And not everyone can go on a Cred that's a buying invitation. Only there, when you download Cred and do your journey, they take your simple data. So only the green customers can get into Cred. Now what are they doing with that? Now they have got all the best customers in the country. Now they're coming to banks like me and telling me, I'll help you sell credit cards. I sell credit cards to them. Okay. So I know what sort of customers coming in. So I say I have 5-7 credit card model credit cards. We jointly work, personify a customer, and then they target, and accordingly we pay them something. That's the business model. So on that ad, yes, that's not a sales initiative. It was primarily aimed at getting those customers engaged with those customers more. Now today, what the problem they're facing is, they're not very not able to monetize that data that they have. And second is engagement level of the customers are going down. Okay, now sometimes I use credit, sometimes I don't use credit. Okay, so objective was for them was to get engaged with their customer, and accordingly they have launched lots of many. They have launched Carrot, they have launched just now they have launched a co-branded credit card in different bank. So now they're starting cross-selling the customer. So objective was bring a customer a mind share back, engage more with the customers, and start monetizing it with various products that they have. So it was planned. Yes, today they're not making money, but it's a matter of maybe 12 to 18 months. I think they will be back on track.
Also, to add to it, advertising job is not just to increase sales. There's a very important term which is brand building. Cred as an entrant, the advertising which you are referring to, it helped it build as a brand. Right? It created it break the clutter. During IPL, there were a lot of ads. It's a very busy and a noisy schedule. Amongst them, threads stood out. So the advertising was great, brand was built, people remember the names, they still remember the ads. So please understand that advertising is not just about increasing sales, it is also about brand building. And I think it did a wonderful job of building the brand by those ads which you are referring to.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeepal, and I would like to ask that since marketing revolves so much around exposure and your practical experience, so I would like to ask that how does it matter? Like, what it matters? Your academic knowledge or your internships and your practical experiences, as well as the courses which you have applied and completed? Thank you.
Alright. So see, like a building, there has to be strong foundation. So your prospective employers would expect you to have fundamentals very strong. Be it somebody from communication, banking, and all. Why do we come to MBA students? We come to you because we expect that you have fundamentals, very strong. So that's very, very important to have good knowledge of theories and concepts, number one. But more importantly, you have to be able to apply these things in real life cases. If you have that ability, you're a very useful tool. So when you're preparing yourself, and now talking about the importance of your knowledge and these things, in your resume, you must mention that which kind of internships you have done, what kind of exposure you have, and a list of AI tools. Can you observe? A list of AI tools you are friendly with and you can apply them in what kind of cases. That's going to be your unique selling proposition that you are in for an interview. So that's very, very important.
Thank you. One last question in the interest of time. I would come to this side. Yes.
Hello, check. First of all, thank you so much, IBS, for giving this opportunity. And thank you, M360, Mike Lavoli. So my question is for Adiraj, sir. So as I was like a week earlier before, I was reading on this article that the WME just recasted the report like within 2030, there will be like 92 million jobs could be disclosed by the AI, such as codings and all, as Sir said, artistic views. So I'm just very curious, like how the company is focusing on like what employees they are hiring for that, like AI concentric view, or just they are focusing on what the experience the person is having today. So it's very tough to us to crack the deal between the AI and the experience. So what's your point of view on this?
So that's a very interesting question. So contrary to the WIP report, right, there was a MIT professor who just did he proposed a new macroeconomic model, properly with all the math around it about what labor-saving tasks are going to be automated and what not. He saw that the overall macroeconomic climate of the globe will be impacted by 0.05% by year. Right? So he has a completely contrarian view on exactly what WIP said. However, having said that, I'll talk about the companies that I've been looking at. Most of them want people who are fluent with AI because most tasks that initially would have to be done, repetitive tasks and tasks where you don't really need general reasoning, tasks where you don't need general intelligence, because general intelligence in AI is about 10 years away, right? Those tasks where you're sitting and just doing coding or bug testing or sending out flyers or emails and stuff like that, where it's repetitive, that doesn't need a mind, that's the first wave of casualties that are going to be taken by AI, right? Because that's the easiest thing to program for. So stay away from learning tasks that only make you a specialist in repetitively doing the same thing. Try and create right now more than ever. MBAs are supposed to be lateral thinkers, you're supposed to be creative thinkers, you're supposed to be able to take data and tools and create interesting third dimensions. That skill today is something that you need to demonstrate to your future employer, because saying that I know the capital of Venezuela or whatever is no longer relevant. That used to be GK quizzes earlier. Now you don't need GK anymore. You need practical, innovative ideas. So my recommendation to you to beat both experience and AI is to try and figure out how create your own thought process, right? Focus on building creativity, focus on building perception, focus on building insight. Try and read as many business models, try and frame your own mental model where your unique take has to be far different from anybody else's. Data is no longer a competitive advantage. No, everybody has data, everybody is reading the same data, everybody's got the same reports. How do you create a your distinct fingerprint on all of that? Being able to create a case around all that data is what you need to focus on. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. B, get comfortable with being creative. And C, very important for your generation, get comfortable with being bored. Because if you're not bored, we're all trying to get constant stimulation. Right? You have 15 seconds in the lift, you'll be scrolling Instagram or swiping right or left, whatever. Right? So you need constant stimulation. So you need to get into the habit of being bored, stare into space, try and come up with creative ideas. Because if you're going to rely on your mental model to be fueled by Google, you're always going to be a replaceable commodity. So my third advice to you is get used to being bored.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, each one of you. Stare at faces. Yeah, learn to stare at faces than spaces. Thank you, Hemant sir. Over to you, team.
As we wrap up this insightful session, we extend our heartfelt thanks to all our panelists, our moderator, our dignitaries, and our audience for making M Talks 2025 a resounding success. Before we move ahead, I would request the tech to please play the video of our vlog. This was the very first edition of M Talks, proudly presented by Club Marketing 360 Degree during their 10th year of existence. Today, M Talk is yet another feather in their cap. Now, I would like to request Dr. Preeti Saxena, our Senior Director and Campus Head, to please come on stage.